Good evening. How's everybody doing today?
Good
Hope you all had
evening.
a good unit one. Let's go ahead and get started here in a minute. If you can, go ahead and rename yourself in Zoom with your pod number and your first and last name. And go ahead and put in the Zoom chat, what piece of tech do you wish you could instantly invent? Teleportation, all right, I like it. A motorcycle, okay. Yeah. Star Trek transporter, time travel. All right. A robo maid. All right, hoverboard. A lot of teleporters and time travelers here, huh? Okay, all right. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to sleep either. It's kind of annoying to have to do that. All right, we got about 1 minute left, so. And by the way, if you're having trouble hearing me, just turn up your volume a little bit. I got my microphone maxed out. I know that was an issue in last session, so check your pod number. You need to look in the courses portal, courses.codepath.com, and look on the left side, left-hand pane under groupings, and just do a Control F, Command F, search your name, and you'll find it. All right, cool. Yeah, that's fine, Eric, no problem. All right, where's my controls at? Got the recording started, I think. Okay, we're good. All right, so we're gonna get started with ciphers and hashing and talking about encryption, which is the process of converting some sort of plain text data into a ciphertext or a code, something that can't be read if it's intercepted. We use this to, prevent sensitive information disclosure, help with protecting, passwords, unauthorized access. The opposite of encryption is decryption. So that's where you're taking the ciphertext and converting it back to plain text, basically just reversing the operations. And people have been using it, for millennia. Ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, Rome, all those different civilizations used it, especially in a military sense to protect their troops and their strategies and things like that. Still is used obviously by the military for that. They're big users of that. Another type, one of the types of ciphers is known as a substitution cipher, which we used in last week's labs and project. This is where you just basically, substitute one character for another one. Usually the very first one you get familiar with is the ROT 13 one or the Caesar cipher. It's where you just basically shift the characters forward or backward. So if it's ROT 13, that just means you're going to rotate 13 characters forward in the alphabet, whatever you're using. So let's do a little quick exercise here. Let's try to what would be the ciphertext for this hot kebab if we wanted to shift it 3? So a ROT with a rotation or rotation 3. You can use CyberChef for that. We'll take about 3 minutes. Let's see. Go ahead and put what you think the answer is in the chat. All right, cool. Looks like that was an easy one. Everybody got that one. So awesome. All right, pretty easy stuff. So another type of cipher is a transposition cipher. So this is where you're just moving them around in different places, kind of like an anagram, you know, where you take one word and you just rearrange the letters and it means something else. This was also used by some ancient civilizations on a device known as a scytail or a skytail. It's basically like a cylindrical object, and you would wrap around you know, the characters you wanted on that, and you had to have it in the right order and at the right position in order to read what it would say. So like on this one, it says, send more troops to the southern flank and something else. So yeah, they would use that in ancient times to transmit messages. So basically you'd have to have the right shape object. You would have to also have them in the correct order. But these ones are pretty useless nowadays because we can just, you know, put that in CyberChef, brute force it in like, you know, less than a second, and we can figure out what that means just by trying every single possible combination. The shorter the message, the easier it is going to be able to figure out what it meant. So yeah, modern methods makes it obsolete, but it's still helpful as a, you know, as a baby step to get into the area of cryptography. Yeah, and it's you know, you probably see a lot in the news, like different companies, they're leaving you know, they're storing the passwords that you use to log into their systems in plain text. And this is a huge problem for obvious reasons, especially, you know, the higher status, you know, like if you're an influencer or something and you got a lot of followers, you're going to be a higher target for this. So you got to make sure you change your password if something like that happens. And hopefully they implement some sort of hashing in the future. That's basically like a one-way encryption type of algorithm. It's where you take some sort of any string or data, you can take a file, you know, like a huge file or just a small little piece of text, and then you convert it to a fixed length string. Depending on the cipher, you know, like if it's MD5, it's going to be 32 characters long. Other ones, it's going to be longer. And yeah, so instead of storing the passwords in plain text, you would just store the hash. And so, you know, some of the attributes is going to be fixed length again. It's got to be something that's very computing intensive. So that way it makes it very cost ineffective to try to go and brute force everything. If you did want to brute force, like the way that people do in a way, try to decrypt this is basically they encrypt every possible string or character or anything that they can think of. And then they create what's called a rainbow table from that data. And then that way, if they come across a hash in one of these database dumps, they just look up that hash in their rainbow table, and then they'll figure out what the plain text is that way. But that takes forever. It takes a lot of power, a lot of electricity to do that. So you want to make sure that your hashing algorithm is, you know, following the best practices, and it's the latest and greatest. Deterministic means that every time you do hash a message, it's always going to create the same output or hash sum. Problem here is if it doesn't do that, that means that like you could have two passwords that would basically unlock your account. So you want to make sure that it's that there's only one hash, you know, for each of the inputs. Some of the common ones you hear about, or you might see in the wild, is like MD5, which is now deprecated. Don't use it, especially for anything around, you know, authentication systems. It's still, you know, okay for file integrity. Like if you're just verifying integrity, it's better than not verifying it. But yeah, don't use it for anything that's sensitive. Same goes for SHA-1. Don't use that anymore. SHA-2 is probably the minimum standard. SHA-256 is also what it's known as, because it's 256 bits. NTLM, that's the Windows operating system, what they use for some of their passwords. I believe that's legacy, though I don't think they use that anymore, as well as landman. That one's really old. So if you see anything like that, yeah, stay clear of it. Don't trust it. And you can see here, like an example, you got the password strawberry, run the SHA-256 hash function on it, and you end up getting this basically hex encoded, hexadecimal string. So that's how you can usually tell if it's a hash, if it's got the digits 0 through 9 and the letters A through F, because that's what you use in hexadecimal or base 16. So yeah, that's usually a clear giveaway. So you just look for that, and then you can figure out what the length is, and then you can go look up, what type of hashing algorithm they used with that. So here's an example. If you're creating an account, like on a web app, the user would enter their password, spicy peppers, and then the platform would use some sort of algorithm. And here they use SHA-1, and then they end up with this hash. And then they would just save this hash. And then on future logins, they would the user would enter the password again, and then the server or the client. You could do this in JavaScript too. So on the client side, you could just go ahead and create the hash. That way you never transmit that. And then the server would check it, or you never transmit the plain password. And then the platform would check it in their database or wherever they're storing the password. Oh, the hash matches. All right, log them in. They're good. If it doesn't match, just say user not found or something generic. So that's kind of how that would work in a login system. Next, we'll talk about encryption keys. So these are keys that you're going to use to encrypt data so that other people can't see it or read it. There's basically two types of encryption keys. There's symmetric key, and then there's asymmetric. Symmetric key is going to be, you're going to use the same key to encrypt and the same key to decrypt. So here, an obvious problem with the system is that you have to figure out a way to give the key to the recipient, right? So how do you do that in a secure way? It's going to be difficult. Thankfully, though, we have something called asymmetric key encryption that we'll get to. But this is kind of a visualization of how it works. You got your original message, encrypt it, send the message over, and the recipient has the key too, so they can decrypt it and read the message. Yeah, just note that same key used. So yeah, here we get into private key cryptography, or better known as asymmetric keys. So this is where, when you generate a key, you're going to generate a public key that you share with the world if you want, or whoever you want to be able to send you encrypted messages. And basically, you can think of it as like when you give somebody your public key, you're basically saying like, hey, here's an open safe, and you use that public key on it, and it closes the safe, and then only your key, your private key, can open that safe now. So that's kind of an easy way to visualize it, if you will. A good example of this too is, say you're like a journalist, in a war zone, or some country where they don't have freedom of press, and you want to protect your sources and protect yourself as well. The journalist could publish their public key, and then that way sources could go and get that key and then email you the ciphertext or the encrypted message, and then only your key could unlock it and open it. Basically, they have the most popular way to share your public key is on a repository. So I think MIT runs one, and then there's another one run by the Free Software Foundation that's pretty common. And basically, you just publish your key on there. You give your first and last name, whatever, and also your email address, so they know how to contact you. So you could basically have sources giving you information that you've never met in person, you've never talked to them, spoken to them at all. They just send you some garbled email, preferably from an email address that's not easily traceable to them. It's not perfect though. There is a flaw in the system, and that because you still have the private key. So if somebody really wants to read that message, they could probably try to intimidate you somehow and get you to cop up that key. So it's not perfect. if you're using this sort of system, don't, go around bragging, oh, I can, I got all these private messages, nobody can read them, because they could probably get it out of you. As another way to visualize it. So yeah, you get your original message and the recipient's public key. So you get that from the public key repository, just download that and then use that key to encrypt the message. And then only the recipient's private key will be able to decrypt that message. So some comparison, both these systems are, widely used on the internet. The good thing about symmetric key is it's way faster. If you got to encrypt a lot of data, like files and things like that, you're going to want to use symmetric key. And then asymmetric key is going to be very slow, but it is more secure, and it avoids the transfer of the key that can decrypt. So yeah, generally these two systems work together, and we'll show some examples here. Go ahead and put in the chat though, just to make sure you guys are following, paying attention. What's the difference between the public and private keys in asymmetric key encryption? Yeah, so Abram asks, how does an asymmetric key work? How would it not be possible to reverse the public key? Because they're totally, when they're totally generated separately, so that the public key, you can't look at the public key and figure out what the private key is from it. I can't explain how that works. I'm not an expert in cryptography, but I just know that that's how it works, is that those things cannot be linked. Otherwise, the system would not work. And by the way, if you're lost at all on this, don't worry. You don't have to be a cryptography expert to work in cybersecurity. I'm certainly not. You just got to understand best practices and kind of know, the basics of how it works. So don't be, worried if you don't quite understand. Yeah. Jessica says public keys are known by everyone. Private keys only known by the one who is decrypting the data. Yep, that's correct. So, all right, let's move on. So next we'll talk about SSL. I'm sure you all have heard of this. When you're using a browser right now on the Zoom call, you're using actually TLS is what it's known as now. SSL is the original name. You probably heard of OpenSSL. That's always had all these, keeps having all these bugs and problems with it. It's a very old system that's been around since I think 1994. But I believe it was, 10, 15 years ago, they switched over to TLS. So you should all be using TLS now, or transport layer security. But oftentimes you're going to hear it still being called SSL. So those things are basically mean the same thing nowadays. And yeah, you're going to use this for, HTTPS traffic. You can use this for, what else? You can use it like on top of FTP. You can use it on top of other protocols as well. And basically it uses both symmetric and asymmetric. So it first starts off with the handshake, and we'll get to that a little bit. We'll get to an example about that, but let me get ahead of myself here. So yeah, SSL certificates, you've probably heard of these. So like when you go to a website like, yourbank.com, you can see up in the address bar, you got like a little padlock symbol. And if you click on that, you can go in and view the certificate. And that basically just shows that the certificate is valid. It's been signed by a trusted third party, certificate authority, and that it's legit. If it's not legit, that could mean that the domain's been hijacked or there's some sort of man-in-the-middle attack going on. So do not just blindly go ahead and accept it, unless it's your own private server, because you might have like a private server in your home lab, and you got to do that because you're not going to, waste time, setting up certs and stuff like that. The things will still be encrypted, but it's just that an attacker could have the private key to decrypt the connection or the session. So yeah, step 0, client, like your client is going to be your web browser. So like Firefox or Chrome, you're going to go to, google.com or whatever, the server, and then the server is going to have the public key for the server, but the browser also, or the browser client also has the public key. Firefox and Chrome, they automatically update these all the time, so they know what are the trusted certificates and how to verify them. Yeah, the server has the private key. It'll the client will generate a symmetric key during the TLS handshake. So the client says, "Hello, server. What language do you speak, or what protocols, cipher suites do you have?" And the server will come back and say, "Okay, I support these. I recommend we agree to use the best one here, like TLS 1.3 or something." And then it'll, choose the way to use they'll figure out which algorithm to use for the public keys. It'll agree on that, and then it will transfer or generate a symmetric key for the rest of the session, and it'll transfer that symmetric key over the asymmetric connection. So they'll use public-private keys to transfer another key, the symmetric key, securely. And then from that moment forward, going forward, it'll only use a symmetric key for the rest of the session. And then once the session's disconnected, it'll have to go back and go through that handshake process again to create a new symmetric key, because you don't want to use the same symmetric key for a long period of time, because again, if the symmetric key is ever somehow stolen, they would be able to read all that data during that session. So you want to keep generating it, frequently somewhat. So yeah, that's kind of how it works on SSL. And again, it's kind of confusing at first when you first get into this, but if you keep coming back to it, it'll eventually stick and you'll get it. Let's take a break real quick. I guess I'm kind of going a little fast here. Let's see here. Do y'all want to take a break, or you want to just keep going? Because I know this lab there's a lot of setup time, so maybe we want to get started on the lab first. Let's take a little poll. What are you guys saying here? Okay, I got almost 100 messages here. All right, let's keep going. Yeah. Sorry if I went a little fast here. All right. So yeah, we're going to go to the courses portal, Unit 2, Labs tab. And in this lab, we're going to set up a Kali machine on Azure Cloud. So you'll be able to create a virtual machine there. You should be able to get some free credits. I recommend you sign up with your university email address on there. And then I think they give you like a year free or something. If you have troubles with that, let me know. I think we can also, you could probably do it on AWS or GCP as well, if you don't have any credits. But I believe, yeah, they give you 12 months free, and I think that they still let you work in a free tier, maybe, as long as you don't use too much resources. So yeah, just kind of a preview about it. We're just gonna, what you'll have to do is you'll have to create your own public-private key pairs for SSH. SSH is secure shell protocol. So that's how you're going to connect, like in a terminal, to another machine out on the internet. And basically it'll do kind of just like what I talked about in SSL. It'll do public-private key handshake, and then it'll transfer a symmetric key, and then it'll use that for the rest of the session. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this, because I know this one's going to be a long one. So sooner we start, the better, I think. We can get the Hopefully everybody's renamed themselves with their pod number and their name. Make it easier for operations team to split you up. We can pause the recording too, probably. All right, 30 more seconds, and I'm going to do a live demo. I'll do this because I know a lot of people are having issues with this. Bear with us as we iron out some of the kinks in here. It's our first time launching this curriculum, so there may be some gaps. Real quick on the check, and can you guys tell us like what if you've actually got the VM up and running and you're able to SSH in or not? So we can kind of get a temperature check here, or we could maybe even do a poll, right? Maybe easier just to track. See a lot of yeses. Okay. All right. Oh, the question was like if you've been able to create a VM and SSHN or not. Income. Sounds like it's like half and half, maybe. Maybe 1/3 got it. Okay, so it's been a while since I've actually created a new account. I actually did it with my personal Gmail, and somehow I was able to link it to my student email. But I know like you're supposed to be able to go to this site, the Azure or azure.microsoft.com free students, and you just click on start free, and it asks you to log in with your Microsoft account. So you log in with your student account and just go through the prompts there, and you should be able to set up an account without a credit card. And that'll carry you through the course. But some of you may have already used your credits or your past like 12 months or whatever it is, the restriction. So I'll be able to at least go through once you get through that registration process and show you how you just start from scratch at that point. So there's a lot of common pitfalls when you're connecting, and hopefully we can clarify some of the confusion around that. So I'm going to start fresh. I've already got a Kali machine up and running, so I'm just going to go ahead and destroy that and start fresh. Okay, so that should all be being deleted. Probably still have a resource group. I probably got to wait for all this stuff to. Let's see if we can delete the whole thing. Okay, this could take a second. While I'm waiting on that, if y'all are already logged into your account, the first thing you're going to have to do, or make sure that's been done, is to enable Microsoft.compute. Because I saw a lot of people, they got to the point where they're ready to download their private key, but it kind of responds with this weird error, you know, talking about subscriptions and Microsoft Compute. So to fix that part, you just go up at the top bar and search for subscription. And then just click on it. And then you should see something like this. And you'll just click on Azure for Students. And then you'll get this menu over here. And then you scroll down to the bottom where it says Resource Providers. And then click or enter Compute. And then this first one here, you can see I've already registered it. But if it's not registered, you would just click it and then click on Register up here. And then you got to wait like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. And you can always check the progress up in the notifications, and it should say that it's been registered. Once that's done, then you should be able to download your keys. So that hopefully that'll fix it for a lot of people that are already at this point. So yeah, I actually recommend just leaving that download key pair window or tab open, and then just open a new tab and go to the portal. So just portal.azure.com and then do this, and then wait for that to complete, and then go back and try to re-download. So yeah, once you've got that registered, then you should be able to create compute resources. So yeah, let's go back to home, and I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to try to follow along exactly how this looks here. That way you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we're just going to search for virtual machines. And then we're going to click on create. Okay, and then make sure that your subscription's showing up there. And then resource group, you're just going to click on create new. And I'm just going to call this CYB101 demo. And that's sort of like a container for all the resources that are related to the virtual machine. So that way you can just delete that resource group later on, and that'll terminate your entire project, and you won't get, you know, there's no way for them to bill you on that. As long as you don't go crazy and create a bunch of stuff in that resource group. Virtual machine name, you can just call this whatever you want. I think the guide says to, see, what does the guide say to do? Create. Yeah, just give it a cool handle. I'm just going to call it Cali. And region, I'm going to do US East. Yeah, we don't need any infrastructure redundancy, security type standard, that's fine. Image. Okay, so I believe this does not show up by default. So I think you have to go here maybe. Yeah, I think you might have to search this, but if that doesn't show up, then you'd find it in there, Kali Linux, then select. You can do either or. I'm just going to go with Kali Rolling. So it's the latest version. Or no, it's actually not the latest version. No, it is the latest version. Yeah, 4B. So yeah, I'm going to do that. And then architecture x64, that's our only option. Leave that part unchecked. If you do a spot discount, it is cheaper, but they have the right to shut down the machine anytime they want, like if they're at max capacity or approaching that. Size standard, I believe that's the recommendation here. I think that this doesn't show up by default when I first did this a week ago. So I believe you have to go. Yeah, so it shows up for me now because I've used it in the past, but you might have to click on see all sizes and then just search for standard. Or search for, does that have to be a capital S? No, I think you just got to search for, what is it, B101-S1? Yeah, B series. There you go. Okay. Select that then. There you go. Thank you, whoever did that for me. I'm a little slow. Yeah, we want to use SSH public key. And then username, this part's important because you got to remember what username you set it to. You can just leave it as the default. And I believe that's how the guide references it. So yeah, I recommend just leaving it as default. Another option you could do is you could match your local operating system's username. And that way you don't have to actually enter or provide the username when you connect. It'll just take whatever you're logged in as. But I'm going to leave it as a default and try to follow the guide as close as possible. So I can help troubleshoot any errors. So yeah, we've got that set. We're going to generate a new key. Key pair name, we can, I think the guide says to call it Azure Kali key, if I believe. Oh, enter any name you want. Yeah, just remember what the key name is because you're going to need that. Remember the username. And then public inbound ports, we'll do SSH for now. And then we'll go and configure the disks. So we don't need encryption. I mean, this is just a test machine, right? It's not in production, so we're not too worried about it. We're just gonna, use it for this class. Leave the disk type there. And we want to delete with VM. Let's see here. Okay, so I think I click on. What's the guy telling me to do? Oh, I think I need to attach a new disk down here because this is just going to be the OS disk. I believe we're supposed to attach a data disk. So we'll do that. And I think that this is probably like way too much. We could change the size here. Correct me if I'm wrong, tech fellows that have gotten to the end of the guide. But I believe you could, you could downsize this to like 256. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Delete disk with VM, yes. And then I'm going to do OK. All right, so we've got our operating system disk, we've got our data disk, and then we're going to go to networking. So we're creating our virtual network here. Basically, it's going to set up like a virtual router and a switch and all that stuff just in the cloud. Security group is fine. That's fine. We'll also allow RDP, so we can check that. And we can delete all of that too when we delete the VM. And then we're going to click on, I think at this point, we just click on review and create. Okay, and that should prompt me to download the key. Okay, it's just reminding me everything, like remember what your username is, remember your key name. Okay, looks good to me. I'm going to create it.
I had a quick question. Is the 2022 version of Kali Rolling Linux, is that okay?
Yeah, either one's going to work fine because we're not using anything that's like bleeding edge, so should be fine. It'll probably be even more stable actually if you use the older one. I like to live on the edge, so. Yeah, if you're on Mac or Linux, you got to use the chmod command. Also, if you're doing trying to connect from WSL, if you're trying to connect from WSL, I recommend copying it into your WSL environment. That's actually how I'm going to connect to it. So I'll show you once I've got this set up. So I'm going to open up a terminal here. And so I should have am I go in there and keep the key. And if you're on Windows and you're using the WSL terminal, you can get to your download directory and copy the key out into your WSL by going to Mount, and then C, and then Users, and then your local Windows username. So that would be Clinton in my case. And then Downloads, and then what did I call the key? I think I called it Azure, right? Yeah. And then I'm going to copy it here. So I'll just put a dot. That just means in this directory, my working directory. So now if I do an ls, I should see it. If I check the permissions on it, I'll see that it's actually open to the owner, my group, and other. So I need to lock that down, otherwise I'm going to get an error. I'm just going to leave it for now though and show you what the error is going to look like if I try to connect. So I'm going to do SSH-I for I don't know what I means, but I know it's for private key. I'm going to give it my private key, and then I'm going to give it the username. So it's got to be Azure user @ and then the host or the IP address. So now that it's deployed, I'm going to go to the resource, and I'm going to copy the public key, paste that in there, and then if everything works, should work. But I believe I'm going to get a permissions error here. Okay, so I got that error. So now I just need to do a chmod 400, which basically means only allow the owner to read the key, and then everybody else no permissions. If you're using Windows PowerShell, you might not have to deal with the permissions. The only case I know where you have to reset the permissions in like PowerShell or command prompt is if somehow like you you downloaded the key and it was saved like on my local Windows account, Clinton, and then I copied it to another computer that had a different username, then it's going to complain about the permissions. But I'm pretty sure that's like the Windows SSH client. It only checks the owner and that's it. Like whoever's trying to read the file. So if you see this error, you got to fix the permissions. If you just see like a permission denied error, so let's say I tried to connect to the wrong IP address. Well, it's got to have SSH running on it, but this probably is not going to work because there's nobody listening on that connection. But if I tried to connect to like the wrong host or the correct host but the wrong username, it's just going to give like a one-line error. It says like something about some sort of failure. So in that case, just double check your username, double check the host or the IP address. But yeah, now I should be able to, if I can. Yeah, what was the original one? 7? Yeah. So now I should be able to connect. Oh, maybe not. What did I do wrong here? Okay, so if you're at this point, you're like, all right, I think I did everything right. Now I need to look into the logs and figure out what's going on here. So to do that, I need to go into the serial console. So down here in the bottom left, click on serial console, and I should be able to see like all the logs of when it, how it was created and everything. Oh, wait, this is not the right one. This is, I think I need to go to boot diagnostics. Yeah, because this is actually going to let me log in like as if I was in the data center. So I need to go to boot diagnostics and then serial log. Okay, and then here I'm going to just search, what do I search? Authorized keys, I think. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, username was Azure user. And let's see. See if I can search that pen. No. Shoot. Let's see here. Let's check the date on that file because it might have been my old key that I just copied on. That's from today. Let's see. That was from last night. So I downloaded the wrong key. Let's see here. I'm gonna go look off screen here. What did I call it? Oh, okay, it's because it renamed it. That's why. So yeah, like because I did use the same name, but I need to do the copied version. So how did it rename it? It put like yeah, there we go. So I need that one. There we go. Do that here. All right, so now I should have two key files. Let me delete the old one. And then move that to this because this is, I don't like dealing with spaces in my file names. All right, so now I need to do Chmod 400 on that one. And then I should be able to connect this. All right. Please work. Okay, thank you. Yes. All right. So now I'm in. I'm SSH'd in. Now I can follow the rest of the guide. From here, it should be pretty smooth sailing. So let's go ahead and clear the terminal. I just did Control L if you're wondering. That's if you want to clear your screen. Okay, so we've downloaded our key, we've logged in. Oh, I guess I kind of just skipped all that, didn't I? I've only done it a million times, so. So now we're at the setup RDP. We can also run some of these commands. The uname command, that's going to tell us what Linux kernel we're using. And yeah, it's Kali is based on Debian. So that's what that does. LSB release, I believe, is just going to tell you like the operating system or the distro brand name. So I should say Kali, and then the release we're on. Who am I? That's just going to tell me who I am. So I'm Azure user. Yeah, once you're actually SSH'd in, everything, all the commands should be the same. The only difference between Windows and the rest, including WSL on Windows, is the chmod command. You're not going to have that command in Windows, only in WSL. Do we need to stop and answer any questions yet?
Hey, Clinton, could you show, like, I wasn't able to get the prompt, that Kali prompt that you have, and I used command prompt. Yeah, so like right at the beginning, like how you were able to, I guess, pivot from wherever you were to here.
Okay, let's try it's what is it, rename? I'm sure. Okay, yeah, let me see. That should be the same exact command.
Yeah, so I got to, like, it said it asked me the question and I said yes, and then
Mhm.
nothing happened.
It's just hanging or what?
No, it just went back to C users/owner. That's it. Kind of
Same
just waiting.
here,
Man.
the same
Okay.
issue.
So you answered yes on this first prompt and then it just
Yep.
sent you back.
Mhm. And then it just went back like it's now waiting for the next command.
Okay,
So the prompt came back.
Try.
Yeah.
let me try this one. Okay, this is not. All right, everything's opening. Do you see, does your terminal look like your terminal window look like this? Or does it look like the old school style, like where it's all like square corners?
No.
And do you see
it
tabs
pretty
here?
much like it pretty much looks like yours. The only thing is that yeah, I have tabs at the top, except where yours says Azure user at Cali, mine says command prompt.
Oh, yeah, that's just because I'm logged in. So if I log out now, it says command prompt.
Okay.
Mine is different.
Are you in your downloads folder?
Yes,
Okay. Who else is talking? I can't see. Someone else is having the same exact issue?
I think it's Anna. So it's me and Anna.
Oh, okay. Can you guys try PowerShell then?
Okay.
Like if you're in this terminal emulator app, that's what this is. Like if it looks all fancy and stuff and the colors look good, then you should be able to open up a new tab like here and then open PowerShell.
So, oh, okay.
Okay, that one I gotta be in the downloads folder.
So what happens in PowerShell? Because do I type in the same
Yeah,
command?
same exact command, yeah. Can you share the command or screenshot or something of what you're seeing? As long as you don't have any, private information on there.
What do you want me to share it?
Could you share the command you're running? Like the exact command, just copy paste what you're putting in the
Yeah.
shell and put it in Zoom chat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm looking at old messages here.
There you go.
Okay, can you take off the, can you actually CD into downloads first? Instead of, and don't use the tilde in front of there. Just have only the file name of the key file name. So it should be like
Oh.
this. So CD downloads and then like that. Because I don't think command prompt understands the tilde.
yes, mine is working. So basically in the PowerShell, it's working.
Okay. Yeah, I think PowerShell understands that that's an alias to your home directory, but I don't, command prompt is like 50 years old. It doesn't understand that special character. But yeah, if it worked for Anna, it might just work for you in PowerShell if you do it the same way you did it before too. Oh, on my directory, the mount is that's where WSL knows how to find your Windows drives. So it's like
So
a
when
sim.
I CD'd into downloads and then I put the same command and it says username at and then the IP address, permission denied, public key.
Okay. In that case, you're going to want to check your username and your IP address. So it might not have been Kali, it might have been Azure user. So try Azure user for the username first. If you're following the guide to a T, then it's probably Azure user.
Hello. I'm getting a message called unprotected private key file. I remember you did some chmod 400 thing.
Yep.
Uh, so do I have to write? You wrote something else after that. I don't remember what you wrote.
Oh, to check the permissions, I just run the ll command, which is an alias for ls long listing. So I just ran ll. That's not going to work in command prompt though. Yeah, I did ll. You can just do ll like that, and it'll list all the files in your working directory, and it'll tell you the permissions. So you should see permissions like that. And are you on Linux or Mac?
I'm on Mac.
Okay, yep. So the same thing then. You probably don't have the ll command then you got to do ls-l.
Okay.
It's the same thing, I think.
Okay.
Oh, well, that one says total 12. This one says 12. That's weird. Oh yeah, because I think ll lists hidden directories too. Because a dot is a symlink to the working directory, and dot is a link to the parent directory. Okay, if you don't remember your username, you can go into you can go into your VM, and then go to boot diagnostics, and then search, do a control F in here and search for authorized keys. And then you could figure it out by looking at /home, and then your username is going to be right there. Also, it's going to say right here too. Okay, Alexander, what command are you using? Because my guess is you're not in the right directory. So you probably got a CD into downloads, so wherever that is on Mac. One sec. I need like a couple of minutes, okay? Just take a quick break. I'm back. Okay, if you see no such file or directory, that means it doesn't see that file name, the file name after -a or -i, Stephanie. So can you do an ls? Run ls to see what files are in your directory, and also look at command prompt's not going to do it. Also look at your prompt and see what your working directory is at. Yeah, you can do, I think you can do pwd too, print working directory, to see what your current working directory is. But your shell should also give you like a hint here. It tells me it's the tilde, which tilde is the same thing as your home directory. So. Mohammed, if you have to go, please do the survey before you go. Also, let me cover real quick too, one slide. Let me get the survey link already in the chat. Also, there's a event coming up. I believe it's this Thursday. Yeah, this Thursday, 1 p.m. We're gonna have some panelists that'll help you navigate the career field and helping you get a job and stuff like that. So be sure to check that out, RSVP for that. I'll drop the link there too. Again, to find your username, you got to go into your machine in Azure and then click on Boot Diagnostics on the left, click on Serial Log at the top, and then just do a Control F for user or authorized keys, and that should give you a little hint to it. Like here, I see it down here, authorized keys from this folder, which that's the username, Azure user. And then for user, Azure user right there too. That's how I know. How do you disconnect from the VM? You can just type in exit, or you can do a little shortcut if you want to save your wrist from carpal tunnel. Just do Control D, and that'll log it out too.
Okay, so Mr. Clinton, I was able to actually log into my VPN, the remote desktop. And then once I wasn't able to launch the actual Super Mario. Like when I log into the remote desktop, it's logging in, but then it's logging me right back out.
Okay, so you get the like a new login screen, right? When you RDP.
Yeah, so when I go to the remote desktop, I click on my IP address and click connect. And then I get a login screen on Kali and I enter my username and password.
Oh, I think I know what it is. It's probably because you need to set your password first. Because by default. Oh, you did set the password. Okay. I'm not sure. You might want to run some of the restart commands in case any of those were missed, like these. Well, if you're already RDP'd in there, you might.
Yeah, I did all of that.
Okay. Yeah, I would just go back and check your history. You can like look at your history with the history command.
Okay.
So I would check your history, just verify that you actually got through everything.
Yeah, I was able to get on Falcon, and able to go to Falcon, but I didn't see the picture of the Super Mario come up. I wasn't able to actually launch it, but.
Okay, I actually haven't gotten that far yet. I think I got just to that step. I was working on that while y'all were in breakout rooms. And then, I don't know, I was having like a lot of lag issues with my RDP connection, so.
Okay, well, I'll just wait, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just. What's up?
Is that normal for it to be laggy?
Yeah, I think so. I think there might be some settings you can put in here. Like if you go to show options, this is on Windows anyway. I don't know about on Mac or Linux, but you could change your display resolution, like make it smaller. So, maybe go down to like 720p or, something like this. Especially if you have a huge, widescreen or something, that's going to slow it down for sure. And then also change this colors quality. You can put that down on like 24-bit or 16-bit or something, and that'll also reduce the bandwidth. So.
Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, let me know how it works, if that helps out or not.
I still can't like log in. It's showing like permission denied and it's showing public key in the bracket.
Okay, do you want to share your screen and we can walk through it?
Sure. Can you see it?
Yep. Okay, it says it's not accessible. Okay, so
Yeah.
do LS. First of all, CD into your downloads folder. So that
What?
way you don't, CD, so change directory to your downloads folder. It's probably going to be case sensitive, maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, do the tilde / in front of that. I think you're already in there though. Might
Yeah,
have,
I did this like downloads.
yeah, you might have removed all permissions to your downloads folder, it looks like you can't even change directory in there. Okay, do PWD. Enter. Okay, do sudo sudo, and then space
Oh, fuck, okay. Space.
-I, and then enter. Okay, and then enter your user password for your Mac.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now you're logged in as root, so you gotta be careful here. Go to or CD, and then go into that copy that user / users and then your username.
Like this.
Down in the middle, like underneath pwd command.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, put a space after CD. And enter. All right, now do ls space -l.
Yeah.
And then do downloads, space downloads, capital D. Oh. Okay, do Control L or Command L. Yeah, Control L. Okay, let's do. I think you got to do another command for this. It's I think it's okay. Go up, press up on your keyboard. The up arrow. Okay, and then do -L and then -D, I think, because we want to just look at the directory's permissions. So
That's it?
back at the ls-l,
Oh,
and then put a D, yeah, like that. There you go.
should I write downloads?
Yeah, downloads. Okay, so yeah, you don't have execute permission. All right, so you're gonna need at least the execute bit. So what I would do is do chmod, and then do 770, and then downloads. Okay, now do Control D to log out of root. Okay, now press up and see if you can go back to your SSH command and see if you can do that. You should have access to that file now. Okay, so now you're just getting the permissions warning. So now you got to do chmod, and then 400, and then the path to that file.
Path to like the.
So yeah, just copy from, so see where it says permission 0644 for users, blah, blah, blah. Just copy that whole thing if you want. Or just copy from downloads to the Blink Zone Kali PM. Either way works. Just up to PEM. There you go. Yeah, you gotta be careful with the chmod command because you can remove access to your whole directory like that. So
Okay.
okay, and then enter. All right, and then now SSH, and you should be good to go.
Yeah.
You could probably just press up too. I think that would pull
Oh.
back here. There you go.
That's it? Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, hopefully that was helpful for others too if they're facing that issue.
Yeah.
All
Thank you
right,
so much.
how are we doing? You're welcome. How are we doing on time? We got 10 minutes. Hopefully, most of y'all were able to at least get SSH done. Do we have any questions we need to answer before I ask everybody to do the survey?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Okay. All right, let's do the hands up thing.
Yeah,
all right, you
I
wanna go
have a,
first?
yes, please. So everything was working fine. Everything was completely good right until the deploying the Super Mario game. After I ran all of the things that I needed to do, like installed Falcon, it said that some resources needed to restart or something. And I clicked enter and it went back to normal. And when I tried to log in, I put in my credentials, and right after I like log in, the screen goes black and like shuts off.
Did you resize the window at all while you had it open?
No, but I could do if need be.
Okay. Are you on Windows?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I would yeah, go into the remote desktop settings and try to resize, like go into the display tab or go into what's the first one? Yeah, you got to click like show more options or something. And then
Yeah.
display tab and set your window to be smaller. That way it doesn't try to fill up your whole screen.
Lower my quality as well.
Yeah, lower your quality a little bit. If that doesn't work, it's still giving you a black screen. Just go into you can either just SSH in and do a reboot command, or you can go through the Azure portal and just force restart.
All right. Yeah, that's not working, so I'll just try to restart.
Yeah, try to first. Yeah, sometimes it just hangs up and.
No problem.
Cool. Everybody else doing all right?
Yeah, that was the same issue
you.
I was talking about earlier, Mr. Clinton.
Okay, you're good now, Desiree?
No, I'm trying to figure it out now from what you just said.
Okay. Yeah, the RDP part, if you're having issues with that, change the settings. I can share real quick and then I'll go to the next people with their hands raised. Let's see here. So yeah, an RDP. So if you open this brand new, you should see a window. Should see something like this when you first open remote desktop. Click on show options. And then click on display tab. And then change this display configuration with the slider. And set it down to something smaller. Like I wouldn't go to 640, that's probably way too small. But you know, maybe 1024 is good enough. Or somewhere around, in there, rather than all the way. You can also change the color quality too. So change it down to like 24, 16-bit or something. You might have to play around with it a little bit. You know, RDP is a protocol, it's pretty old. So that may be something we need to, think about other options for a remote desktop. Yeah, okay. Let's see here. Brandon. Brandon Muller?
Yeah, hi. I'm running Linux on my home machine, which I'm using to RDP with Ramina. I'm having an issue where I like successfully connect using RDP in Ramina, but it's like super laggy, like almost unusably laggy. I don't know, is there anything that you guys know about that maybe there's a fix for, or like
You know, I
configuration?
used to use Ramina. It's been a long time, so you're gonna have to just look in the settings for that one. Like disconnect and then try to figure out if you can change the quality. I'm almost
Okay.
certain you can, because that one's got way more features than the Windows one.
Yeah, I use it regularly to RDP into Windows machines, and I've never had an issue. So yeah, I'll just have to mess around, I guess. But
Yeah,
okay.
mess around with quality on there. Okay, yeah, and just try to get as much of the lab done as you can, because a lot of it you can complete from, just SSH. Just do what you can for now. Let us know in the help channel how that goes with the Ramina settings. Probably not too many people are using that, but could be useful. All right. Iskandar 45. You wanna
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead?
My bad. I forgot to put my hand down, but I did the reset thing. So like restarting the machine from Azure solved 99% of all my problems throughout the whole troubleshooting process. So
So you,
yeah, it's all good.
yeah, that's good advice. If you're having issues, with RDP too, especially just do a reboot.
All right, thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, Ron Hutton.
So I'm having problems with the remote desktop connection.
Okay,
So, hold on one second.
is it the same issue or?
So when I try to connect, it says that my remote desktop that the computer may not be turned on or something like that.
Okay,
Can
in
I go
that
ahead and share my
case,
screen?
oh yeah, go for it. Let me stop. Here, we'll have to fly through it real quick. Run out of time. Someone can drop the session survey in there too. Others, you can go ahead and do that. If you got to take off, then go for it.
So this is what I'm getting.
Okay. And you've gone through all the lab instructions for setting that up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're in a VM. Oh, but you're logged into your machine. Okay. Check your firewall rules. So go to networking on the left.
On my actual computer or the VM?
And Azure.
Okay.
So under settings, go to networking. All the way on the left.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, looks like you need to add inbound rule for RDP.
Right here.
Yep. And then source port ranges. Or wait, I think it's going to be destination protocol. Yeah, destination. You can leave that. Service should have RDP in there, I think, right? There you go. And then just
That's
add.
it.
Yep. And if you want to lock it down too, you can also set the source IP to your own IP. But this is a test machine, so whatever. Shouldn't be a big deal. And
Okay.
then don't ask me again for connections to this computer, because you're going to get that otherwise every time. Click yes. All right, looks like you're
Okay.
good.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I don't see any other hands raised, so I think we're good, right? Cool. Let's get back to the slides and close this out. So yeah, there is an event on Thursday. Please RSVP to that and go check it out. Supposed to be some great speakers there. Help them navigate the hiring process. We'll drop that link in there real quick again in Zoom. So everybody's got it, if I can find my controls. All right, do that, and let's do the survey. So it's going to be in the courses portal. Under lab unit 2, it should be, it's probably in the overview page, I think. So session survey up here. I'll just drop the link in the chat. And then, yeah, go through it. You're going to be on cohort section 1. And then get your personal member ID. Again, that's going to be at the top here in your courses portal. Put that in there, and then yeah, week number 2. And then just let us know how it went. It was a little shaky today, and hopefully it'll be a little smoother next time. So. And you can add your questions in the spreadsheet too, and we can get back to you on that as well. And we are having someone review the curriculum too, to make sure that, you know, we've got all our ducks in a row there. Sometimes it's kind of hard to recreate these, especially if you've already used your student email address. So feedback is very valuable to us. Let's iron out some of those issues. Yeah, and then next week we'll be talking about authentication. And don't forget to do the finish the labs and the
Hello.
project and submit that, I believe, by Monday night. All right, we got a
Can
couple more questions. Let's start with who is this talking?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
I'm trying to look for essentials.
For installations,
Essentials.
essentials.
Yeah. After the deployment is finished, I have to go to resources and under essential section. I'm finding it difficult to locate the essentials.
I'm not sure what's the essentials. Is that part of the assignment?
Is it when you download the private key and then create the resources on the page for the new VM under essentials?
Okay. Do you want to share your screen real
It's
quick?
back where you find your IP address.
Oh, you're trying to find your IP. Okay, so yeah, go to overview page, and then over here, you'll see your public IP address. You can click this little button next to it, and it'll copy to your clipboard, and then you'll set it up over here. Awesome, thanks for the assist on that. Okay, Kelly?
I am using a Mac and I can't open the Kali terminal.
Okay, can you open the regular terminal in Mac?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. All right, yeah, there's something off on this terminal. Because your prompt is, it's like it doesn't know your username or something. Okay, so what was the command you were trying?
Well, after I installed where is it? After I put this code in according to the website, and then it exited and it didn't go into the Kali. but I went ahead and tried the sudo apt-get update, but that also didn't work.
Yeah, that one's not gonna work because you're not gonna have apt-get on your on Mac. So yeah, let's figure out what the SSH problem is. So copy that SSH command. Let's start from there again.
Did he say that's not gonna work on Mac?
The apt-get command. That's only on Linux or Debian-based systems.
Should I run the,
Yeah,
Should run it
yeah.
again?
Let's see what happens. Okay, so yeah, you gotta do the chmod command on here. So do chmod without the A, and then space, and then you got to give it that key path. So press up, or yeah, do that. That works. And then copy. See where it says load key? Copy that path up there. I gotta learn how to use annotations. Oh, there you go.
Do I include the quotation marks?
Yeah, and before you paste that, enter 400. So it's going to say I only have read permission, and everybody else has no permission. There you go. Okay, now do up a couple of times. One more. There you go. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Alexia?
Hi, yes. I'm just going to share my screen.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, so here you're going to get this prompt the very first time you connect to a computer. It's just letting you know, like, hey, I've never connected to this computer before. Are you sure you trust it? And you're always going to get this the first time you connect. So go ahead and click on don't ask me again for connections, and then click yes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll stop sharing for you since you're probably like full screen now. All right, I can do maybe two more. All right, Anna.
All right, so I have an issue connecting again to, 1 second, let me share my screen. I cannot reconnect to the remote desktop. Okay, share the screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. So we connect.
Okay. Yeah, something's wrong. You could do you could try deleting those credentials if they're bad, but I think maybe just try restarting the VM in Azure first.
How do I restart it?
So go to the Azure, your browser.
Oh, where? Here?
Excuse me. Firefox.
Firefox, okay.
Yeah, actually, while you have that PowerShell window open, go ahead and log out before you restart. So it doesn't
Okay.
hang up on you.
All right.
Okay. You were running some sort of script or what?
No, I was trying to fix that problem, but
Oh, okay.
no.
All right, go to
And-
overview. And then there should be like a button to restart at the top. So at the top bar. Go
Connect.
next one over.
Restart.
Yep. And note that when you restart, your IP address might change. So always double check that after you restart.
Okay.
Okay, and hopefully that fixes it.
Oops, no. It's the same one.
Yep.
Nope.
Okay, do delete these credentials. Where it says you can edit or delete these credentials, just delete. Yeah. And then make sure that username is correct.
Yeah, it's correct.
It is, okay. And then, yeah, just connect and make sure your password's correct. And if that doesn't work, double check that you went and set your password with the password command, sudo password, your username.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
No, doesn't work. It all started when I tried to download some Falcon.
Falcon?
Yes.
Oh,
So everything worked till I introduced that command, like sudo apt install.
okay. Well, you could
Falcon.
try, since your SSH is still working, I think. Actually try it real quick again. It looks like it just finished restarting because I think it was still working on restarting. Try one more time. No. I mean, try RDP again real quick.
Sorry.
It's all right. I just see,
Okay.
looks like you're good.
Nice.
Yeah, you just had to
Yeah.
wait for it to finish restarting.
Yeah,
Cool.
I see. Thank you very
All
much.
right. You're welcome. All right, last question and I gotta go. Alexia? All right, did you still have your
Oh,
hand up?
sorry. Yeah, my hand was still raised. Yeah.
Okay, so we're good? All right, cool. Yeah, remember homework's due on Monday and yeah, I'll see you back here next Tuesday.
Wait one moment. I think I'm almost done, but I got a mistake that said that a daemon is using outdated libraries.
Uh-huh.
And do I just restart it or just click?
I would just leave it because if you do an update, it might break something. It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just saying that on your Kali VM, again, this is just a test machine. So,
Mhm.
you know, like in production, yeah, you'd want to upgrade stuff if it's saying it's vulnerable, but I would just leave it for now,
Okay.
just to make sure that the rest of the course will be stable or more stable. Cool.
All right.
All
Got it.
right.
Hey, Mr. Clinton,
Thank
I just want
y'all.
to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you teaching the course. I'm having a lot of fun. Thank you for your time and everything. And I'll see you next week.
Awesome. Means a lot to me. Thank you, Timothy.
Have a good one.
All right. Take it easy, y'all.